People of the sun, skin tones the same color of the earth God used to form us. Survivors shaped by the struggle of our ancestors. Our legacy is whitewashed from history, culturally bound by our Catholic faith. Rosa de la Reyes ties the family together on the Epiphany. We all pray for the blessing to receive the baby. The Virgin of Guadalupe, our first mother. We build an altar at the door, lighting candles to keep the evil away. Rosaries as our first piece of jewelry. From the moment we can walk, we are raised to treat sex as an act given to us to perform by God, only to populate. Abortion is a dirty word, an action only committed by the worst of the worst sinners. 11 we were, just two little girls stuck somewhere between babies and begging boyfriends. Both spending Wednesday through Sunday in church, drinking the blood of God to wash away our transgressions. 11 would be the age where we would lose our innocence and learn just how cruel the world and our God could be. I will never forget the day we found out you were pregnant. 9, the number of tests we stole and took in the Walgreens bathroom. 9, plus signs staring back at us. Barely getting our first monthly bleed the summer before. Tears filled our eyes. We had to find a way to stop this from happening. If your dad found out, he would surely kill you. He had beaten you for far less and knew you would barely make it out alive. Weeks we spent all we could to get help from the few people we could trust. We both knew we were running out of time. Finally, we got word from an older girl. She had been in trouble before and gave us a number to call. 3 rings. Seconds, I'm sure, were all that passed, but it felt like hours. A raspy voice answered, "What are you looking for?" is asked. I want to say we need to go back in time, but I know that's not possible, so I say an abortion, sick to my stomach as the words fall off my lips. The voice chuckles, then gives me the address, time, and amount. The line goes dead. I look across the room. Your eyes so full of hope. I say it's going to be okay, it will all be over soon. A few days later, we arrive at the location. The building looked abandoned, boards covered the windows, the smell of poverty and desperation filled the air. A man steps out, cigarettes hanging from his mouth. He signals for us to go around the gate. Once in the back, we enter a shed-like building. A table stands in the center of the room. He tells you to remove your pants and get on the table. I hold your hand. Just breathe, I keep saying. He loads a syringe with some drug and ties your arm with a rubber hose. Tears fill your eyes. Just breathe. I say it will all be over soon. I hold your hand, and he begins. A long wire-like object is his tool. Your eyes roll back. I hold your hand so tight my fingers lose feeling. 11 we were when the world stopped spinning, and we were no longer children. The smell of cigarettes lets me know he's done. Put your clothes on, he says as he wipes his blood-stained hands on a dirty towel. We'll get dressed, barely able to move, but we manage. We take the bus back home. You are in and out of consciousness. I'm crying like crazy. I know we only have 4 blocks to get it all out before we're home. No one can know. 3 days. 3 days I hide you. 3 days I question everything. 3 days I can't seem to wash the smell of blood off of me or that room. I was 11 years old when I learned all I ever believed in was a lie. I was 11 years old when I learned that there had to be a better way. And somehow, I had to do whatever I could to change things. We were 11 years old when we lost our innocence. We never spoke of what happened. We only carried it inside like cancer eating away at us. Years later, I have seen abortion laws in this country be given and taken away. Still a dirty word to so many. I watch rooms filled with men who will never know the cost that comes without safe ways to end pregnancy speak of the sanctity of life. And I say, whose life is it that they speak of? I ponder the thought of what it could be if I had ever sat a seat at their table, how I would spend an ounce of the power they hold showing them the cost of their misguided convictions. Would I act out of revenge, turning into a tyrant, acting as the wild animals my grandmother told me they saw us as? Would I hold their feet to the fire and force them to see the barbaric backyard abortion, force their eyes open as they watch young women ripped apart? Would the anger of my ancestors flow through me as I make them see the dark cost of their decision? While I often wish I could reduce myself to the same level of ignorance and evil, I cannot. Instead, if given the chance to have power to invoke change, As such a member of Congress, I would use my seat at their table to educate them with my experience. I would set policies in place that demand we provide safe shelter and care for anyone who finds themselves pregnant. Policies that make it mandatory for all of those who are of age of possible conception to be educated on safe sex practices, as well as every option available to you if you find yourself pregnant. I would ensure all states must offer both safe shelter and health care to any person who is seeking either an abortion or carry to full term. I would require any elected official who is opposed to abortion to be required to adopt a minimum of one child in need and provide all costs and health care to a person who is denied access to safe abortions within their state. I would invest in the education system, providing a budget to ensure all schools have not just state testing scores as a priority, but mental health as well, an equal focus. But until that day, I must do what I can now with the power that I have. As a free agent, a political activist, some would say. This means, despite the laws we have, if I must break them to keep even one child safe, then that's what I'll do. Like my ancestors, if I must travel by night, hide in the shadows, trafficking people to states in which they can get health care they need, risking both their lives and mine for a better future, then may the spirits keep me safe. I will continue to stand in solidarity with generations of women who have stood before me, as we use our voice to speak wisdom into deaf ears of old misogynistic patriarchy, never forgetting that I am born of the sun, my skin tone the same color of the earth that God used to make us. And if to dust I must return, then I will choose not to let it be in vain.